Now, you have 2 degrees,
Yes, ma'am.
a master's and your
Undergrad.
Tell me, how did you do that debt-free?
A great question. So
No student loan.
So I'm 40. I'm about to be 45. So I let everyone know how old I am. So I got my undergrad degree from Kennesaw State University up in Georgia here in 1998. So back then, you know, obviously college wasn't expensive as it is now. But so what I did in 1998 for my undergrad degree was I lived at home. Kennesaw State was a commuter school, so I lived at home. So there's a lot of ways that I save money. So I stayed in state, right?
Yeah.
You save a ton of money staying in state.
Staying in state.
Lived at home. My parents were gracious to allow me to live at home for free, right? So I worked 3 jobs, okay?
Plus
3
go to
jobs.
school.
And that affected my grades, I will admit. So I worked, I ended up working 2 on-campus jobs, which was very convenient, you know, to work on campus. And then I worked at a retail job at Town Center Mall in Kennesaw, which is just right across the street. So I had a retail job. And then also for a little while I worked for Chick-fil-A. Great company to work for as well. Great company, great experience. And actually Chick-fil-A gave me a scholarship.
Yeah.
So they have the scholarship program, they help out.
Yeah, a lot of young people that work there get scholarships. Who I don't mind serving Chick-fil-A. I mean, going there because they do so many wonderful things.
So I got the Chick-fil-A scholarship. Then I ended up getting some jobs on campus just because it was convenient to be closer. So I worked all these jobs on campus. And so there's a lot of different things that I did to pay for that. So one thing I did was I volunteered. I was really into sports at the time. I wanted to get into sports broadcasting and stuff. So I volunteered in the athletics department. Now, of course, they didn't have the budget to pay me, right? But, you know, I didn't really care. I wanted the experience, and I wanted to be around sports, and I loved, you know, I had a lot of friends that were, you know, athletes and stuff. So I just wanted to be around it, and you know, and it was so much fun. So what happened was, because they couldn't pay me, like, you know, a salary or you know, an hourly rate, the athletic director said, you know what, Jason, you've been working for us for 2 or 3 years for free. You know, we're going to put you on a scholarship. And I said, okay. So wow, you know, like, so that was, I mean, talk about a blessing from God. Like, I'm the first person that I know of. I was a non-athlete. They put me on an athletic scholarship. I was like, are you guys even allowed to do this? But they said, you know, we're giving you full tuition, full books. So that paid for my senior year. So I got 1 year, a 1 year full scholarship for that. Now, before that, they had given me like a book scholarship. So they were paying for my books. So that helped. All that stuff just helped. Like, all those little things help, right? And then, you know, paying, you know, just working part-time, paying my own way. So that really helped me graduate. Now, again, back in '98, school was a lot cheaper, so it was a little bit easier to manage. Now, I recently got a master's degree, same school, Kennesaw State. I studied professional writing. So here's how I got that degree debt-free. So I just graduated in December of 2018 recently, and it was a 3-year program. So I started out, I was actually an employee of the school. So as an employee, they give you tuition assistance reimbursement. I think it's called the TAP program, Tuition Assistance Program, right? So as an employee, they would pay 100% of my tuition, right? So the only thing that I was responsible for was for books or, you know, incidentals, any supplies I need. So that was out of my pocket. So I had tuition covered. So, but what happened was, you know, and of course I could have managed it, you know, I was like, okay, you know, I can manage paying for books or whatever. But I still applied for scholarships. There's so much scholarship money out there that people don't know about.
Yes.
And so I applied for scholarships, and I actually made money by going to school. I got 2 scholarships that paid me like, and then they weren't that big, it was like $1,500, but it more than paid for all the books that I needed.
Yeah.
So I ended up making money by going to grad school. But see, the thing about it is that what I try to tell people in my book is that there's so much money out there that people don't know about. And I learned this firsthand by working for the university. There's just, you know, we had so much money just sitting in like a scholarship fund. Either A, people don't know it exists, or B, they're like too intimidated to apply for it. So like, I don't know, you know, they just think that they're not going to get it or whatever, or they don't, you know, and a lot of these applications, they're really easy. You just, it'll ask you, write a 250-word essay on, you know, how this money can help you. It might take you a half an hour, you know, like you sit down, you write a half an hour, you know, at the most, right? And people don't do it. They just think that, they think that there's like a million people applying, they have no chance of getting it. I can tell you with almost certainty that those scholarships that I got, is because I was the only person that applied. It wasn't because I was better than anybody else or my story was, it was because I was probably the only person that applied. And they were like, well, we got to give it to somebody, and this guy applied, so he's, you know, he did it, so let's just give him a check.
That is huge. Scholarship money is so important because debt, for student debt, is unbelievable. Talk about the news
it's
talking about it.
astronomical right now with the student debt. So the debt in our country, so the #1 debt is mortgage debt, right? It's like $9 trillion, which is, I mean, nothing's gonna be close to that. But the #2 debt in our country is student loan debt. It's at $1.6 trillion. That's higher than credit card debt. That's higher than auto loans. You know, all this consumer debt. That's the #2 debt. So there's a lot of reasons why that's happening, and one of the reasons why is that the cost of college is just, you know,
astronomical.
Since my dad was in college in like the mid-70s, and so I did some research, and so like it was something like from 1975 to now, the cost of college has gone up like 1,600%. I mean, way higher than, you know, food, gas, gold, everything else that in our culture, it's like tripled. So that's a problem. We got to get the cost down. But the other thing is that our society and culture tells us that basically, you know, our students are being forced to take out these loans when that's not the case. And so that's what I try to tell people in my book, is that there's so many alternatives to going to college. You can go to a trade school or a technical school or get your associate degree, and there's no shame in taking a year off.
Yeah.
And hey, do like go work 3 jobs for a year and just save up your money. And then you go into college and you have some money in a savings account that you can pay.
Well, we're going to go back to John Hobbs. Before we do, I want to thank you for being here, but I'm going to bring you back.
Sounds
and
great.
We're going to go through the book page by
to.
page by page, not today, another day. But if you know someone that's going to college, this book is a lifesaver to them, so that they'll know how not to get into student debt and how to get these not loans, but
scholarships. And grants. There's so much money out there that helps students that they don't know about.
And you went through, you're debt-free on it. So
absolutely.
$15, go to your phone and get the book. This book will change your life, how you live, how you spend your money. If you're a spendthrift, you got to have this book.